Welcome to About That Ender. Today we are talking to a legend in the skate industry, Mr. Matt Pailes.
Thanks, man.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to start off by saying that I've been a fan of yours since I was just starting out skating.
Cool.
You rep Sacramento pretty good. I know you're not from here, but...
Yeah, but I've been adopted.
To me, I always saw the two Matts.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, those guys.
Were you around when 28th and B? I mean, before 28th and B.
19th and R, I've been around.
Yeah.
So
okay.
my friend and I, we were just talking about it. Cameron and I were just talking about it. I remember the construction of that place.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to skate it and seeing the pros that would come by. It's you guys.
And Stefan was just a young kid.
Yeah.
Omar was just a young
Beeble.
kid.
It's like, so I'm 34. So I'm just on that cusp where I was.
Yeah, and I was like 25 at that time. So most of the kids that were like 15.
Yeah.
Are like you and other guys.
Yep,
yeah.
That's me basically.
That's such a cool time.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, let's take it back. So you are originally from North Mass, right?
Yeah, Massachusetts,
okay.
Right.
You lived there you grew up there, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised Massachusetts. Grew up skating like Newburyport, Northern Mass, and would take the T into Boston on the weekends. And then I moved out to San Francisco, like right out of high school.
Right after you graduated?
Yeah, we're looking at the magazines all the time, and we're seeing like, I was gonna move to San Diego with like Jason Maxwell. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
And he was all set, like, you're moving here. And then my friend Greg moved from Lowell, Mass, out to SF with Jamie Thomas, and he's like, dude, you gotta move to San Francisco. It's so sick. And then I just got I was like, yeah, like, you mean like Rick Abacetta's part where he skates in Barcadero and all those in the New Deal video? And I started looking at all the San Francisco stuff, and I'm like, dude, I'm moving there.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just packed up. I had like $3,000. I packed up. We actually lived with Jamie right at the beginning.
Sick.
We moved in with him like right when we got to SF, but we lived in like San Jose for a couple of weeks.
And so at that time, how big was Jamie? What was he doing?
He was doing experience, and he was kind of like myself. We were all part of this. Like during that time, we had done all the amateurs, like from Rick Oyola, Matt Reason, Anthony Reynolds, Anthony Oglesby, Matt Rodriguez, like Jamie Thomas. All those guys have been on this like East Coast tour. I mean East Coast to West Coast like contest series, and they all met up in Texas. And it was like everyone who won from the contest coast to coast met up in Texas for this big contest. So all those guys were like that came up during that era of the 90s. I had seen them now like at those contests just before like Jamie got big. So he was on experience, and we had met him, Matt Reason, all the New York guys like Gino and Chris Keefe and Huff and Ben Liversedge. They were all in that contest series. So I met all those guys then. Clyde Singleton.
What a roster, huh?
It was such a crazy crew. Yeah, like when you look back at the history of the 90s skateboarding, like everyone went to that contest. Yeah. Jamal Williams. And it was just cool. It was like that was the beginning of that kind of. The small wheels were still like super small with goofy pants. It was just coming out of that era into like the more fresh looking like 90s.
Hip hop was integrating.
Right. It was just beginning to be like the poppy EMB style skating and Courthouse LA style like pop skating, like where people were into
style we love so much now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved out here. When you moved out here, did you have any sponsors at the time?
Yeah, I rode for GNS. I rode for GNS. Actually, I rode for like Going before that, and Jake Phelps saw me skating some Go-Wings at that contest. He's like, "Fuck that, dude! Like, I'm gonna send you some indies." So he sent me indies, and I was all psyched, like I'm on the team. I thought I was, and then that was it. It was like GNS, and I had like clothing sponsors from back east, like 3D.
Yeah.
So it was called 3D, it's a little skate clothing brand from Boston. There was 2 brands like Big Top and Who Skates back east. They were like little board brands from like Boston and Maine. Mm-hmm. Dan Drahol actually skated for Who.
You gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, and we used to skate with him a little bit at Rats, but I mostly met him when I moved to SF.
And skated with Fink, right?
Yeah, that's when.
So when you moved to SF, how long did it take for you to get hookups out here?
So I was riding GNS boards for a while. And then it was only like a few months. We ended up moving in with these girls, and Sean Young and Hurley lived in the back with us. I don't know if you remember Hurley, but Sean Young was on Anti-Hero. He lived in the back house with me and my friends. We moved in with these girls, and we were skating with Dan every day. And I just started skating think boards all the time, even though I wasn't riding for him. I think like Laban lived near us, and he was giving me some blockhead boards. I didn't know what I was going to do. And one day, Greg Carroll was like, Pailes, just take this board, dude. You're on think. And I was like, sick, dude. Okay. Really? Cool. Yeah, like for him, it was no big deal. But for me, I was like, I'm on what? I'm on think. Like, and I think it took a second because I was skating with Phil and Dan and all those guys every day by that time. It was only a few, like 3 months, 4 months.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I was like, wow, it was like kind of a dream come true, you know. And then once you're on Think, they kind of give you the package. You're on Think wheels, you're on Venture trucks, and so I stopped riding indies and just rode Ventures at that time. Now I skate indies now, but I was on Venture for quite a while.
Well, I found that like when I was riding Ventures, I found that the bigger I got, the more I broke them.
Yeah.
I had to switch
liked
to something
the way they turned for years because I was used to them. But once I got on indies, I remember being like, wow, this feels so much more solid.
This is what it's supposed to feel like.
I was like, you know.
Yeah, those things are built to grind.
Yeah, but I was super thankful that Jake hooked it up. I mean, throughout the years, he's just a crazy guy, but like, he hooked it up at the beginning. You know, I was like, wow, that was cool. He just like saw me try some trick over the pyramid, and he was like, you got to get some indies, man. And when I got a package, I was like, dude, he really sent it.
That's what's up. Well, I hear Jake's a pretty solid dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Think, how did IPath come around?
So Think was going for a while. It went for a number of years. Wade and Phil and we toured and did all that kind of stuff for years. And during that time, I remember I started getting real kind of. I went from being like this whatever clean cut dude to like kind of like hippie skater style, like living in SF, you're smoking weed all the time, doing mushrooms and shit. And you're like skating with all these different guys. Like I'd skate with Matt Pailes and Mike Dare, and I was still on Think, but we were starting to like kind of form our own little clique outside of like that. Like I was still on the Think team, but Matt was on Reel, Mike was on Stereo, and there was just a bunch of other guys like Tony Cox and the McGrath brothers, and they all lived in a different house. So we started hanging out. We Matt Field created a company called Half-Life, and it had a little quick video with like Rick Oyola, Matt Reason, all the guys I just mentioned before, were all on the team, and it came out and had this little quick video, and it was sick. It was like a sick team. If you look it up sometime, you'll be able to see like the Half-Life's first video. Like there's like a little 5-minute. It was basically IPath.
Okay.
And the guy, I guess Matt Field and the guy who started it kind of had a falling out with the clothing company. But Serge Trinowski was on it. It was cool. And then all of a sudden, Matt Fields came to me and Matt Rodriguez and was like, you know, we're going to start this company. I don't know if you remember Nice Shoes. It's like this kind of...
Sounds familiar.
No offense. It was kind of like a whack little shoe company to them. No offense to them. But then they started giving us... we started giving them prototype ideas and came up with our first few shoes. And then Carl Watson got on right after that. And it was like the 4 of us kind of... It was first the 3 of us and then the 4 of us. And Bigfoot actually was the one who came up with that logo.
Sick
Bigfoot,
logo.
the artist. Yeah, he came up with that sick like eye logo. And it's supposed to have the buffalo horns. And
got some right there.
There, yeah. Yeah. And it's iconic. You know, it's a trip that it's not around, but it kind of still is. Whoever owns it now, I don't know how all that came to be. But, you know, Matt Rodriguez and I weren't necessarily business-minded. We were just like, we're getting checks. We're getting free shoes. We're getting flown everywhere. We're not tripping. Yeah. We're just on the team, and we like the vibe, you know.
Well, you guys are just skaters. That's your job.
Yeah.
That was
you know
your job.
I mean? Yeah. Nowadays, when I look back, I'd have been more of a business person about my skating. But during those years, the 90s, it was different. You didn't have phones. You didn't have internet. You just were, like, in the vibe of skating and being into your weird shit that you were into.
You guys were, like, pioneers because you were at the tail end of the first generation of like paid street skaters.
Yeah.
Like you were in that first generation, a little bit at the tail end, but you were in that first, because the 90s, that whole decade, that was the first generation of dudes that were just getting checks to
paid
just
street
go
skaters.
Wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Versus the contest skaters that had strict contracts.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you were definitely, so you didn't have a model.
Yeah.
So you didn't have somebody ahead of you that was like, oh,
Yeah.
dang, I fucked up and you should not fuck up because I fucked up, you know?
Yeah. And there were like, the contest guys, and I did go to a lot of those big contests, and there were the guys that were like super killing the contest every time. Like Kareem Campbell would always be killing it. Willie Santos, all those guys were super good at contests. And so skating with Phil and Wade, they kind of got me up on game. Like I was like, okay, I want to do good. But I never was really that much of a contest skater. I was more of a let's go film some street tricks.
Yeah.
And once I started getting some balls, I'd be like, let's film the sick rail or something. You know what I mean? Like, and before that, I just kind of was like a little bit timid. And I think from skating SF and bombing hills all day and skating big, rough, gnarly terrain, when you skate something on tour that's like smooth and a perfect rail, you're like, this is gonna be sick. Like, so you had more confidence from that experience, you know. Skating SF all the time is like kind of good like spot to like, you know, nurture your skating.
Oh yeah, I always say if you can skate street spots in SF, you can skate anywhere in the world.
Yeah, and it's always kind of cold, so you got to rough through that. I mean, Boston's fucking freezing, so.
Yeah, but San Francisco always has that gnarly wind.
Yeah, it's got the wind.
It's cold, it's windy, and the weather changes rapidly. And there's a lot of factors in SF that if you can skate there, if you can get good footage there, then you could take that kid on tour and he'll skate good anywhere you take him.
Yeah, like some of that Drehobel footage and footage of us skating China Banks early days. It was super windy some of those days, and Dan would just be killing it, pushing as hard as he can. Just
you get like 10 pushes
through it. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like he's one of the first guys that I saw that I was like every day we go out with him, he's the first guy I skated with that every day you go out with him, he'd like blow your mind with something crazy. Like some days you go out with some homies and someone does something sick, you're like sick. But this dude would be doing shit that you're like, holy shit, he did that, like 3 things in a row on China Banks where you're just like, the fuck, like this dude is so good, and he's so like, he'd either be on a good day, and it'd be sick, or he'd just want to smash his board to pieces and go home.
Either way, like, good footage.
Yeah, it was like that aggro. It was like, you know.
Well, that's what's up. What was it like being on a team with Carl Watson?
Oh, it was cool.
I'm a huge fan of his too.
Yeah, Carl was like just super chill, mellow. You know, IPath was made up of a bunch of like guys that are on that same kind of tip. And that was like the second generation of like, you know, I went through the Think era.
Yeah.
And then like IPath was kind of like the Supernaut era for me. I think Carl had Organica at the time. I don't know. But it was cool because, you know, he's a way different kind of dude. He's real smooth. His tricks are really flowing and mellow and just clean, you know, and people loved him. Like, you know, it's different than when you go there with like, they're like, oh, IPath team, but like girls and little kids love Carl. He's just got that positive attitude.
Oh yeah.
And people are all about it.
Have you read his book?
No, I keep seeing it though.
Dude,
I keep seeing it on the internet.
Before you leave, I'll let you check. You should check it out because it's super cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, I trip on how cool it is that he made it because I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's something like you'd think of. That'd be a cool thing to do, and a lot of people never do it.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, but he actually manifested it. He got it distributed.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool to see, you know, as we get older, what people do with their ideas. You know?
Right.
Yeah, that was inspiring to me. I really haven't read it though or anything because I work so much and do what I do so much that I'm in my zone.
What do you do?
Yeah, so I thought this would be cool to talk about actually because not many people know. So I was the B Street. I ran the B Street for the city of Sacramento for years. Then the labor unions kind of shuffled our jobs around, so we didn't have a choice about where we worked. And I got into teen services, like after school programs with kids. And now I work after school programs, which it's got to do with a lot of like I go to all these different community centers and I work like almost like teaching a class, and the class is like how to have life skills, how to do a job application, how to set goals. A lot of me is a motivational kind of person to these youths. That's my job, is to be like, what's your goal for next year? What are you doing? You know, what are your ideas for your life? What's your career path? What do you want to do with your life? You know, and if they don't know, then I kind of help guide them on like through different avenues, you know. And then in the summertime, I work with kids who actually get jobs for the summer, and there's like about 5 crews of kids that go out. Each one has 5 kids and a crew leader, and they just work throughout the city of Sacramento doing landscaping and doing work. So I go and I check up on each crew every day. You know, some days I'm bringing them watermelon, or some days I'm bringing them Gatorades. Sit down, and they think of me. They're like, "Oh, Mr. Matt's here. What's up?" Yeah. It's a whole different vibe. Than they barely know me as Matt Pailes.
I was gonna say, do any of them even know that you're
barely?
Oh, dude.
Some of them they check me out or they check out my music, and I kind of be like, "Shh, don't talk about my music."
Yeah,
like, So like, what I do is I go and I talk to, but I try to talk to the crew leaders, which are the adults. I say, "Hey, what would be good to do today is to have a sit down and talk to them about these themes of the day, like communication and what it's like to be a leader, or what it's like to be a team player and how that works, and just all that youth development type stuff." So it's kind of cool because I fell into this job, although I would love to be still running the skate park, and I have tons of ideas for it, and which I might be back there eventually. I don't know, but this has taught me a lot.
Wait, so they moved you from, like, they just said you're not working at the skate park anymore?
Yeah, it was like it wasn't really even their choice. It's political stuff with the unions. Like if they choose to, it's a long story. Yeah. But basically, I still had the same hours. I still had the same pay. I actually got a raise, but they just moved you to a different position. So in other words, instead of running a skate park, I went straight into like sitting in front of a classroom and teaching a 3-hour class every day. And it's crazy.
Correlates.
Yeah, and that's nothing I ever went to school for or nothing. So I had to really adapt and figure out, you can't be Mr. Nice. I tried to be Mr. Nice Guy and their friend the first few runs, but kids are going to they look at you as a teacher, so they're just going to test you. So, but in the long run, it works out. Like I learned like a good balance between being like having some discipline for them, and then at the same time, like relating to them and having fun with them. Cause I can relate to them. I mean, I come from a skateboard background.
Yeah.
Like I come from a background of like, I just want to have a good time and have fun every day. So I try to teach them, like, do something you love, try to find something you love and make that into your work. And even if you have to work on the side, try to continue to plug at whatever it is you love to do, and don't like, oh, I'm too old for that. Like, don't do that. Like, there's no reason to ever do that. Like,
yeah, I preach that shit all the time.
Yeah,
just think about what you love to do, and then figure out how money comes from that in some form or fashion.
Even if it's not your living, as long as you're still doing it. It's like people like Huff and Nick Diamonds, or other guys that, like, when they started out, it was just small. They just stuck with it. They didn't give up on their dream or their idea, and then it just grows and grows. If you give up on it, or if you think of it only for the money, then you're not going to make something of it. But if you think of it as, I just love doing this, then I think that's where the best thing comes from. I mean, you got to have business sense too. But
yeah, I'm actually in the middle of that right now, of that watering the seed, and every day contemplating, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, oh no, it's gonna pay off. Is it gonna pay off? I don't know if it's gonna pay off.
I think this is cool. Like, I've always thought a podcast would be cool, but so many people do it that I'm just like, I watch podcasts all day long.
Yeah, it is something that's a lot of people think of doing, like, oh, let's do a podcast, and a lot of people probably would have interesting content to talk about, but it is hard. It takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of, like, planning involved, and a lot of it, editing and scheduling, and then the actual time of doing it. So when you think about it, it's like, oh, it'd be easy to do. Well, it's,
but not really, because there's a special skill of how to keep the conversation going, to bring up subjects and know which things to talk about.
That's what I do my homework.
Yeah.
So I have notes.
Yeah.
All right. So you were on Think for a long time. Just side note, do you know Bruce Rodella?
He's the guy that does the boards now, right?
Yeah, I just had him on last week.
Yeah, really? Yeah. I think I saw that, and then I started talking to him because I was thinking about making some boards a while back, just a small run, because I still want to do that, just make a small run of boards of my own kind of graphics and ideas, just to have them for fun, nothing big. But when we started talking, he's like, dude, I remember you from Think days, and I was like, oh, wow. And it's foggy memories for me way back. But when I started, I'd see him around a lot after that, and we talked.
Yeah, because he was in sales.
He's always super cool, yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
All right, dude, let's, I wanted to check out some of we'll watch some of your footage here.
Footy.
Yeah, so this part in particular, so we're looking at a little part from 411, right? It's It was like a spotlight.
Yeah, I think it was my profile.
Yeah, it was the profile.
Music wasn't my favorite, but
yeah, you can't really control too much of that, You
know who helped me do this though? Really? Is P Stone filmed like a majority of this. Wow. Yeah, he was my good friend. Like, especially during this time, like as years went on, we wouldn't hang, but just because we lived in different places. But he was Boston. I mean, I skated with him. I grew up skating with him in Boston. He was one of the guys I'd take the train in to skate with him.
That's what's up. Yeah, well, R.I.P. Okay, so I want about this part. This video, this 411, was actually like the second video I ever bought.
Oh, really?
Like with my own money. So the first one was like number 32.
Yeah.
And then this one was like number 34. And I had already been skating for a couple of years, like four years or so by then. But I was finally old enough that I had my own money.
Yeah.
And I went to the skate shop and I bought 32, and then and then I had saved up enough money to buy 34, and this one was in it. And
which shop?
SBI.
Oh yeah, yeah.
SBI over on How About Arden.
Yeah.
So, I was stoked on this part because it showed the Sacramento skate park.
Yeah, that's Sacramento.
It had, and that was the first time I had seen Sacramento. Like I'd seen San Francisco, and I'd been to the spots that I'd seen in the videos in San Francisco. Okay, cool. But this was the first time I ever saw like spots that I had been to.
Yeah. And this is like right when I moved from SF, so I still had a lot of SF in my part, and I was just starting to move to Sac. Yeah.
So, for people who, if you haven't seen,
Coast, moved to the West Coast about 6 years ago. Live in Sacramento now.
Sound like such a nerd.
It's a different life ago.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different life ago. So if you want to go check this video out, it's Matt Pailes, 411 issue. It's labeled 411 VM 99.
There's the R Street.
And there's 19th and R right there.
Matt Rodriguez really spearheaded building that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. So we can pause that because this part is amazing. You guys can go watch it if you want. 19th and R. So for me, just for you on the outside, for me, I grew up, my mom actually worked in the building, the state building it was right across the street from.
Oh, really?
With the red awnings over it. My mom worked in there, so I would go to work with her every now and then.
Yeah.
And she told me one day, she goes, I think some people are building a skate park.
Yeah.
So I rode the light rail down and checked it out. And sure enough, some dudes were building a skate park.
Is literally where Safeway is now.
Yeah.
Safeway on 19th.
Yeah.
Man, parents got involved. It was just so cool. Like, there's this one crazy parent. I think he was like a former drug addict or something, but he'd show up with this truck and he'd be like, let's haul the cement, and throw all the cement in the back of his truck and pile it in there and then bring it over and start throwing it down, and then we'd throw the cement over it. And really, it was Matt's idea, kind of Matt and a bunch of the guys that lived at his house. But I was right there with him because I had moved here to skate with him. We just started Supernaut. Like, we were filming for Supernaut. We were about to go to Japan in a few months. And we just started IPath. So it was like the beginning of all that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm in the perfect place at the perfect time. SF had become like very hard to live and expensive. And shit, Sac was like $600 rent for a little house. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I was splitting it with a buddy. So we were paying like $300 rent and just chilling. Like, we were like loving it, you know?
Yeah.
It was like the perfect time from like, I think I was like 25. Yeah, and it was dope, man. It was like every day just skate a few blocks to that place because I lived right down the street, and just start building, you know, and just start like cementing. And once it was done, it was like, now you got someone to skate every day.
So how did it start? How did you guys get permission to start on that plot, or did you just start doing it?
It was literally, Matt was like, it's just an abandoned place. You know, Matt's kind of got this wild, free-spirited vibe about him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, man, city of Sacramento. He kept talking about, this is the capital, and we don't have a fucking skate park, and you know? And then it's like, yeah, that's true. And we didn't have any parks at the time. There was no power in. There was nothing. And so, and I had just moved here, so I didn't know much about Sac. Matt had already had roots here and shit. So he had all his friends jumping in, and I was in there. I was like, just wanted to be part of the crew. I was like, cool, man, I'm down. So every morning, even wake up, be like, "What's up, Matt? You heading down?" Well, we didn't have cell phones, but
yeah, you call
each other on the fucking
on the house phone,
on the landline. You heading down there? All right, I'll meet you down there. And yeah, it was cool. But we built only like 4 cement things.
Yeah,
but they lasted pretty good. You know?
They did last a while.
Yeah.
So I heard, the rumor that I heard was that plot of land was like owned by the post office.
Yeah, it was post office land, and it was like the post office was over to the right, and it was kind of abandoned, I think.
Yeah.
And then so this was just
It was just a big,
literally like the perfect place to build a DIY.
So people who are under 30 probably will have no recollection of this.
Yeah.
It basically was right next to the light rail tracks, and that's why we called it 19th and R. It was at the 19th and R light rail station right across the street from it.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest place to build a DIY, because these days when you see DIYs, they're like tucked away and like underneath a freeway overpass, and like you gotta go through a chain link fence to get it, and then it's this thing was literally like the
middle of everything.
the middle of everywhere. It was wide open. The light rail was like a bridge light rail, so as you're going across the bridge and you go down the bridge, all of a sudden there's just right there on the left
the light rail people could just look over and be like, what's this little skate park these kids made? And then people brought boxes, and that was the first time I saw Stefan Janowski skate there, and I remember being like, that kid's gonna be good. Like, I was like, that kid is super clean. He reminded me of like one of the girl skaters, like at that point, doing all the switch tricks. Everything was so clean and fluid. And I met all the guys that were coming up at that point, though, like even like Beeble and Omar and those guys, and then Mike Rafter was there, Judd. It was just cool. And it's funny because now I think there's a Panda Express there now, like right in the middle of where 19th and R is. There's a Panda. So if I ever go there, I just think, wow, this used to be right where the fucking
I used to skate
this
here.
is right where the hip was, you know. And the hip was janky, and like I think me and Cardiel and someone else all had footage like grinding this box one day together.
Yeah, it's on.
It's probably on this.
It is on this one. It's
cards
where you go. You the box was put up right.
Yeah.
And you 50'd the top.
Skating.
Yeah.
All types of skating. Skating in general.
This was SF. I lived in the Excelsior district at this point, and there was so much good shit to skate there, but no one ever skated out there at that point.
Now it's blown up.
Yeah, the Excelsior is well known now, but back then, I was like, dude, there's so many spots out there nobody knows about. Yeah, we were both skating
right
the
there.
same day.
That hip. Okay, so
It was like a Sadlands type hip.
The people who didn't get to skate this hip, it was so gnarly. The tranny was pretty rough.
I wish I could still do that. Maybe.
The tranny was pretty rough because it was bumpy, right? You know.
Yeah.
And then the
I thought it was smooth, but maybe I was tripping.
the transition was always chunked.
Oh yeah.
Like so, I was just kind of getting good at the time.
Yeah.
You guys were already pro, so you guys were able to skate that.
Yeah, it's like wobbly. Like the transition was just bubbly.
For me, every time I tried to roll up it, I was so terrified of hanging up that I could never really do anything.
I know. I noticed a lot of people couldn't fuck with that hip.
No. And I'd watch dudes just send it over there, and damn.
It's one of those like weird lean back and just shoot it out kind of hips, and it reminded me a little bit of because we would skate Miley and China Banks, and I just came from living in SF and skating that shit all the time, so this was kind of smooth for me compared to that stuff.
Yeah, but at least that stuff had good transition, like onto what I mean. Like it was rough ground. But
Miley was rough though. It was like, how do you do that? See, here's Piece Stone right here. He filmed a lot of this. That was some weird spot in San Diego that he just was like, hey, look at that spot, man. That was 40 yard in Atlanta.
Man, so yeah, that park's still there, and
this is Arizona.
Was it shitty back then too?
We liked it, I guess, a little bit. Wasn't my favorite park.
I like it too. It's one of those parks that's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's a weird park.
I never go there. Love it. SF. Tony Cox.
Man,
that's still here in Sac.
That's so gnarly. Yeah, I think that's the same.
I drive by those spots sometimes too. Like I always peep them out. And it's weird. Like skaters, we look at shit so much different than an ordinary person. I mean, I guess like other types of BMX dudes and stuff look at it like, but skaters in particular, that's that hydrant. And some other dude just is like walking by his normal day to day, drinking his coffee, doing his fucking, I'm gonna go for a jog later. Yeah. But we're looking at like, look at that curb, dude. Like tripping on weird street shit like all day. Like I still do.
Yeah, when I was heavy filming, had a team and all that stuff, everywhere I'm driving, just like
always
looking around.
For something.
Just looking around, randomly pulling into parking lots to like go see what's in the back.
Go in the back, yeah. Well, you guys found a lot of good spots in that video. It was Board Warrior.
Yeah.
Right? It was like a lot of spots that I was like, "Where's that? Where's
Oh,
that?
Thank
What
you.
is that spot?" You know, like I didn't know that was here. Like,
You saw that?
I saw it, dude. Yeah.
Whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was in rotation at the B Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Oh, how'd that happen?
Hey, skateboarding, dude.
Hey, dude, that's sick. Somebody told me the other day, Angel told me that I made a movie for a skate shop out in the Bay Area, Orbit. This one right here. That he saw that at Lake Cunningham in the shop. It was like playing in the shop at Lake Cunningham. And I was
sick.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, when you put stuff out, it gets in the rotation. Man.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so another one of the early videos that I watched was this legendary one.
Oh yeah, this was like right when I turned pro. I was either gonna come out with some bullshit part or something good.
Because I was a big fan of Think, because as a young kid I saw Think, and then you see it's an SF company, so it's local somewhat. Yeah. And I just really liked that graffiti logo. You know, it just stuck out to, like almost everybody. It just stuck out to you, and so I was a fan of Think. So, and I mean Phil Shao, Jehobel.
I think people still skate this spot in Seattle or Washington. I think.
I've never been up there.
This thing is what we used to call over the rail down the white, and I think Huffnagel did it first. And we were always like, "Who's gonna do it first?" You know.
Yeah, that's
Japan right here.
That's Japan.
Yeah. Ashland, Oregon, I think right here.
Man, this video is all over the place.
Yeah,
huh?
it's just we were on tour all the time.
Well, they had
Visalia.
Way back. Way back.
I was like a 90-pound guy.
Yeah, Think probably had a pretty decent budget, huh?
Yeah, they seem to be doing good. I didn't really know the ins and outs back then. I was so just not in that realm. But.
Well, from what Bruce talked about, he was making a shitload of money. So if he was making it, then the company was probably making it too.
Yeah, it was doing good, I think, because.
I mean, I saw Think everywhere.
Yeah, it was
everywhere for a good.
It was really popular. Like everyone knew who we were, and it was in Thrasher every month. Like they had 2 to 3 ads, and they're. You know, it was kind of like Deluxe. They pumped their riders, you know.
Yeah.
If you were on Think, you were getting pumped up. And I really am actually very thankful that Fausto and Greg and Keith and all those guys pushed me at that point, because I never would have been as well known as I was if it wasn't for them, like, just throwing ads at me in the magazine, doing a frontside pop shove it here and there. And just, you know what I mean? Before I started, like, pushing myself, I still was skating, but I mean, it was like I was still pretty young and green, you know.
Well, you.
I remember this rail we filmed at Super 8.
Where was that rail?
It's called Masonic Center, and at the end I have a back lip on it, but it's like sketchy. And I remember, I think I was tripping one day. We went to that rail, and I was like, I think I could do this, you know.
Yeah. So is it? That brings me to a kind of a point. Is that how crazy skateboarding has gotten these days?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at that rail like, oh, maybe I could back lip it.
Yeah.
And you're a pro.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll put that into perspective. That you're looking at, what was that, like a 13 rail?
Yeah. This was kind of right when, you know, big rails have been done in the live video and stuff, but it was like when the big pants and stuff came in, the big rails kind of took a back seat, and not as many people were doing big stuff. So it was starting to get big again. Like big rails were starting to get big again. So I was trying to, I don't know. I just started tripping on doing bigger stuff and just not being scared, and just kind of looking at it like, oh, it's just a ledge, but long and big, you know.
The ender here is crazy. Almost getting taken out.
Yeah, Aaron Meza filmed this. And Scott Johnson right there saves me.
Scott Johnson.
I remember, I think I did that like second try. And now, when I go to do a rail now, because I'm older and it's kind of scarier for me, I think of that and I'm like, dude, if you did that 20 years ago, you could still do it. You know what I mean? Like, I try to convince myself, like, just fucking haul ass and go for it, you know?
Okay, so that leads me right into you've been skating. Well, you've been posting a lot more clips lately.
Yeah.
So if you wanna check them out on Instagram, it's Ross_Matthew_Pailes.
Yep.
I've been seeing for the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year or so.
Yeah, I skate all the time.
a lot more posts from you, because you know you post stuff, but I feel like in the last 6 months or so you've been posting more regularly.
Yeah.
It seems like you've been, filming more regularly.
Pushing myself more. I think it just kind of, for me, like if I'm not injured, since I'm getting older, if I'm not injured, I'm taking advantage of it. I'm like, man. And like, I don't want to lose. Like, I catch myself losing skateboarding if I don't skate for 2 weeks. I'm like scared to do a fucking nose grind or 50-50. So I like to skate every day just to keep myself motivated and going. And then I don't like to just be like, oh, cool, I just went and did some grinds, or I did a couple 50-50s. Because I don't like to think back and think, oh, yeah, it was cool when I could do that. Like, why can't you still do it? You just got to push yourself. You got to try something a little harder. And then you get the, I don't know, for me, it feels great to be able to still do stuff. And I've been trying to like push it a little harder lately and jump down rails again and stuff.
How old are you?
44.
Yeah, so I mean, he's 44. And we're going to
Yeah.
what is that? Is that like a 9-10 rail, something like that?
9-stair, yeah.
The
It's kind of scary though.
9-stair that he has to like curve into.
Yeah.
And he front boards it. Took him a few tries, but we got a front board.
See, I could have done it cleaner, but I was like, I'm good.
It's for the gram, dude. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at 44, still front boarding 9 stairs.
Yeah.
Still skating 9 stairs.
I'm trying, dude. Yeah.
I don't know very many 44-year-olds who are even skating 9 stairs in any capacity. So
yeah, but you know what? Some of the guys like Daywan and Josh Callis and those guys, when I see them, I'm like, okay, get out there and keep doing it, dude.
Yeah.
Don't be that dude.
Well,
like I used to.
Their style of skating allows for longevity.
Yeah, they got the technical.
Because they're not taking a shitload of impact.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if they mess up on a manual, it might be them going to their back or taking an elbow smack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so yeah, that's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna take you out. Versus skating a 9-stair,
doing a 10-stair.
The danger factor is, if you stick on that front board, it's not just gonna be a fucking some ice on your shit.
That's the wax. Put the wax on there. Yeah, I know. And I do have there's 5 different rails and things I want to skate this summer that I have goals of. So I'll be posting some more stuff soon. But things that I look at, I'm like, I could do that still. That's not gonna beat me up too bad. But I try to man, I'm 44, so I try to get up. I go for a run in the morning. I do boxing stuff. I do whatever I can. Because my body hurts, so if I don't get up and start moving, I feel really sore all day.
Yeah.
But if I'm up and moving and my adrenaline starts going, and I feel healthier, I feel better. Try to eat good and just try to stay healthy. But lately, my thing has been I ride my bike to the skate park, I go for a jog, get in the river, do a long ass swim, get out, jog back, get back on the bike, and that's if I don't skate that day, I'm doing something like that, so that I'm
well, that'll keep you in shape for sure.
Yeah, so that I'm not getting just old and decrepit,
Well, man, you make me feel lazy. I'm only 34, and I'm not going for no run. I barely skate.
I'm weird, dude. I like the heat. I like the hot heat. I don't know why.
No, I wouldn't say it's weird. I'd say that's inspiring.
Okay.
It makes me want to fucking go do something.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go skate more, because I'm like, what's my excuse? That's what I look at it like.
Right.
Like, I'm only 34. What's my excuse? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I still work all day, but at the end of the day, I try to get out. I try to get out and do it at least once or twice a week, and then weekends is my I think I have girlfriend problems because of that. I'm like, I want to go skate. We gotta hang out. I'm like,
you gotta get a skater girlfriend.
Yeah,
a
man.
girl who wants to skate just as much as you do.
Any skater girlfriends out there? No, I'm just kidding.
All right, so not just skateboarding, but you have also found success in other areas.
Yeah.
As a singer, songwriter.
Yeah. I make music and produce it, and then I'm also in a band where I'm the lead singer with a girl's a lead singer too, but we trade off. So there's 2 things. There's our band, which is called the Scratch Outs, and we do old school rock steady reggae, Jamaican oldies, and just it's a different vibe. But it's similar. I still do a lot of reggae, dance hall on that type of music. But my earlier stuff is the stuff I produce myself, and I still put that stuff out. And then I don't know if you've seen the song, but there's this one song called Ganja in My Brain.
Yeah, yeah, that one blew up.
Dude, it's like,
how did that happen?
So, I think it was like MySpace days. I made that song one day in my house. I smoked. I know, Mike. Anyway, I smoked one. I was like, this rhythm is sick that I made, and I liked it, and I was trying to write some song to it, and it kind of sucked. And then I went and I listened to Sizzla or some other band or some other songs got me inspired by some of the lyrics, and I was like, I just wrote down these lyrics. I was like, oh, I got to go home and record this real quick. And I recorded it, and I was like, damn, this song's sick, right? So I just kind of popped it up on MySpace, and like, I think like a month later, like every day was getting more and more plays. And then it was like up to like 1,000 plays a day. Like for me back then, that was cool. And I was like, whoa, people actually like one of my songs. Like before that, I'd just been like, oh yeah, your music's kind of cool, whatever. So I didn't really believe in it. I thought, well, maybe it's just for fun. But then this guy from this French magazine was an old skater, and he does a French reggae magazine. And he goes, hey, Matt Pailes, I didn't follow you for skating, but can you send me that song? I'm gonna put it on a CD. And he put it on a CD with like next to Sizzla, Barrington Levy, and all these famous reggae artists. Like,
shit.
Yeah, and so everybody looked at me like, oh, this is a new guy in the reggae scene.
New artist.
Yeah, and so in France it got huge, and then all of a sudden, like I had it out through this company called TuneCore, which is your own digital distribution. I own all the rights to my music. I distribute it through them, and then it just would be like 1 month I get $100 check from my iTunes and all the digital downloads and streams. And then the next month it would be like $200, and then I started tripping when I get like $700 in 1 month just off a song. Damn. And I was like, what is it? It's mainly streams, mainly just streams. You get a few pennies per stream, but you're getting millions of streams. You're like, yeah. So now it's still not just that song. Like I have other songs too, because I like a lot of my other music. I mean, I wouldn't put it to my skating, but I like listening to it on my own. But it basically like, I think I'm usually averaging about $400 or $500 a month extra money that I would never even thought of making money off my own music, but I own the rights. And it's just cool. Like people love it. People are like, I love this song, and I like it. I like this song.
I like it. I mean, I listened to a handful of your the ones that had like the higher views. I would check them out.
Yeah,
and it's good reggae.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks.
I'm a little nervous about playing it on the show. We might get kicked off YouTube.
Yeah.
But
it's all good.
If you want to go, okay, so you can follow him on YouTube, Ross Matthew.
Yep.
Right? That's just Ross.
Yeah,
Matthew.
Ross Matthew's my YouTube channel.
If you type in Matt Pailes, Matthew Pailes, you'll find it.
Yeah. And most of the stuff that has millions and millions of views, because YouTube it has 4 million on one or 3 million on another, but that's not even my channel.
Yeah, so I did it. I Googled or YouTubed it, and you had. This is actually your channel right here.
Yeah.
But when
my channel's like average; it doesn't do much.
Yeah, but when you your name is attached to other channels that have crazy amounts of views.
Crazy amounts. It's like a trip to me.
And so that's all you. There isn't another like Ross Matthew.
No, that's all.
That's
me.
all you.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people who love that music just are like, don't really know who I am. They just know the song.
Well, because some of
the
songs that have a ridiculous amount of views, there's no there's like visuals, but it's there's no picture of you.
Yeah, right.
So it just says Ross Matthew.
I saw a picture of Damian Marley.
Yeah, or one of them I was watching, it was like a crocodile with a bunch of nugs in its mouth.
Yeah, there's been so many weird things. Like there's been people have made videos, like smoking videos of all these weird cartoons, smoking weed to my song. Or then some weird, I think I posted on my Instagram, some comedians did like a joke on it and they sing the song in like an opera style, or there's all these weird remixes. Didn't you found one that was like Homer Simpson or something, right? My kid's friends, he'd be like, oh yeah, it's bad, but whatever. It's legal.
Yeah, it's legal. It's whatever. It's like you drinking beer now. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So do you still produce music, new music? Are you consistently?
Yeah.
So if people follow you, they'll find new stuff.
Yeah, actually, I just put out a song. That Hand Me the Marijuana one came out like last year. It's another weed song, but it was actually produced with my friend Rick Hayes. He's this little producer guy from, I don't say little, but he's like a younger producer guy from Miami and Orlando area. And he did like 5 good new songs with me. But I produced them myself too and put out my own music. And a lot of that is like I think I have almost a whole album ready to come out soon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
And it should be cool. It's like right now I'm just like I go through all the songs. I listen to them a bunch. And any of them that don't stick out to me and don't make me want to listen to over and over and over, I kind of let them fade to the side. But the ones I'm like, I want to hear that again, or let me play that again. Like then I know that that's like a good song, yeah. And actually, my son kills it on guitar, and some of the tracks I'd be like, hey, lace this up with guitar, like, yeah. So good job, kid.
Sick.
Yeah. So it's cool. I've been producing some stuff, and it's coming. I still put it out, but like the scratch outs, my band is we're doing a show in like LA. We're doing a show in LA, and it's on the same day that, you know what Ellis Mania is? Mm. You know what Jason Ellis is? Jason Ellis is like this old school pro vert skater, and he has like this boxing event. And I got invited to do the boxing event and got accepted. Like, you have to get accepted to get into it. And the boxing is like people dress up in a cow suit, or someone dresses up as a lumberjack, and they all fight each other with like a musical chairs fight, or he fights an MMA fighter the MMA fighter fights with his arm duct taped to him. So if you look up Ellis Mania, and then there's like porn stars and crazy stuff going on the whole time, like strippers, like, you know, like UFC when they're hot ref girls. Yeah. So it's all that going on. Dr. Drew gets up and announces it. So they accepted me. I sent in my little boxing videos of me like messing around, and they said, you're in. And I was like, yes. I'm like, what's the dates, right? And so I figured it out. I'm like, yeah, cool. And I didn't know that my band had booked a show with this legendary reggae guy, Pat Kelly. We were opening up for him on the same day. So I had to make a decision. I was like, I could do this crazy boxing event, but music is really like the priority.
Yeah, well, because music will have the longevity.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun...
The boxing event will just be fucking fun.
Yeah, fun. I think I could beat some people up. I think I'd do good, actually. Because I saw the event, and one of the guys I spar with at this one little boxing gym, he did really good, and me and him, like, were pretty evenly matched. And he was killing guys, so I was like, oh.
How long you been boxing?
Like a year, maybe 2 years, just practicing.
Just boxing, kickboxing? What are you doing?
I do a little bit of everything just to, like, get myself moving. But I study the moves and do all that kind of stuff. And I was into this karate stuff, and that kind of introduced me into the movements. But then I really was like, but I want to know boxing. Like, I want to know, like, I want to be able to really be able to sit there in the ring and be able to breathe and last and not just gas out. Because that's what the main... Everyone thinks they can do it, and then once you get in and you can't last a round, that's the big problem. You think you got skills, sure, but that only lasts for like a minute.
Yeah, but can you keep your hands up for 5 minutes
so
at a time?
That's all I work on now is just cardio and just being able to keep myself like sharp throughout like a 3-minute round. And if I can do that, then I know, you know, and be able to get hit and dodge and all that kind of stuff. So I still like it. You know, I'd still like to get some good matches in, like with some people and some more sparring. It's just, for me, it's just like a challenge and it's fun. And I want to be able to break the fear, just like with skateboarding. Like, I want to not be scared to do that. I want to push through that fear. Like, because some days I'll go to something like a handrail and I'll be like I'll be so psyched to go do it, right? And I get there and I've thought about it all night. I'm ready. Yeah. And I won't even pull the trigger, right?
As soon as you get there, you're just like, nope.
I can't do it right now, you know? Yeah. And I hate that feeling. So I always try to push through that feeling. Like, if I got to go back to that rail, I'm going to go back. Like, the most recent thing I posted recently with that white rail, I did like a regular board slide, you know. For most people, it's like, it's not a very big deal, right? Because it's just a regular old board slide, But I went there the first time and I couldn't pull the trigger, and it made me so mad, you know? Because it's just a little rail.
Yeah, but it's not just a little rail. I mean...
You see, that's how I try to convince myself.
That's like, is that a 10?
Yeah, 10? It's like a 9 stair. It's kind of long.
It's a big 9, and it lands... As soon as you land, it's on the sidewalk, and it's one of those sidewalks that has like the soft roll-in curb. So basically, when you land, your front wheels are like almost going into the gutter.
Yeah, it's kind of sketch.
So it's one of those rails.
Yeah,
and so it's not just a little rail.
Yeah, no, it's not. It pissed me off though because I went there the first time, I couldn't even do it. So I had to like go back and go. I wasn't gonna give up. I want to go back and back 50 it actually.
Back 50? Back 50 would be cool.
Yeah. I think if I just go, I mean, honestly, I think a back 50 would be quicker than a board slide. Because with back 50s, if you just get on good, you're pretty golden. You know,
you say so.
If you can land, as long as you land. Right.
I've just actually recently started, like within the last few years, started getting good at back 50s.
Oh, yeah.
I've always been terrified of them.
Yeah.
Especially on rails. Every time I try them, I do I like ollie too far over and primo
shins.
To the shins.
See, I'm that way with front 50s. I used to be good at them, and now I just think now I just want to loop out onto the back of my legs. Like, whoa, like, whoops. I can't get the back 50. I think if I worked on it and mentally, like, wrap my head around
Rails
it.
are just terrifying.
Yeah. I go for the lip slide. That's usually safer than any kind of grind.
Yeah, no slides. If I am going to go for a grind, it's going to be a crook.
Yeah, because you can be on the inside.
Yeah, because I
jump off.
I can kick that out a little bit easier.
Yeah.
All right, so what else we got coming in the future? Like what's?
Yeah, I think for me, really, I just like continually want to keep skating and keep like. I mean, I know I can't jump down huge things for the rest of my life, but I just like to stay basically on top of my skating and just really for me, it's just enjoyable. Like I love skating. Like I don't want to ever not do it, and that's mainly my future plan for the next year is just to continue skating. And really, I like working on my boxing stuff. On my, I would love to do MMA and learn jiu-jitsu, like, and I might be doing that soon. But I mean, really, that's all I'm gonna be. That's like my daily routine, right? And then other than that, I'm working on music and stuff like that, So
you should try jiu-jitsu. It's fun.
Yeah.
Me and my son grapple all the time.
Oh man, that's because to me that's the two best things, boxing and jiu-jitsu. Because if you start to lose in the hands and they start tackling you, then you want to know how to. And I'm pretty good at wrestling already. I'm already naturally pretty good at like maneuvering.
Yeah.
But I have a jiu-jitsu place right near my house.
Oh, you gotta go, dude. It's so fun.
I know. I'm just
fun.
being a little
well, and okay, for
girly
me,
man. I'm like,
for me, the grappling is more fun than striking because when you spar with somebody, you can spar for a lot longer.
Yeah, you don't have to slam each other in the head. You can just like
you're not getting punched in the face. Like that's no matter what, getting punched in the face sucks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No matter.
I remember that. Yeah, the first my first time sparring, I remember thinking, oh, this guy's 150 pounds, like, I'll be easy on him. And then he was striking me up at the beginning. I was like, oh, shit, okay. Like, and so I didn't do as good as I thought I was going to do, right? But I did pretty good. And I bloodied him up. I didn't mean to, but so anyway, I think he kind of beat me, honestly. But then the other time I sparred, the second time, was with a guy, and I've been practicing a lot, and I knew I was like in better shape, but he was an experienced kind of boxer. And the first swing, I took a jab and left myself open, and he came over the top with I saw stars real quick. And I was like, whoa, am I getting knocked out? And I popped back up and just started. And my main thing with boxing is if I get hit, I like to counter strike right away. So just to give him that, like, don't get too comfortable hitting me because I'm going to strike you right back kind of thing. So after I saw stars, I was like, oh, shit. That was real. But that match in general, I feel like we were pretty evenly matched. I feel like if it was a points match, I probably would have outpointed him. But I mean, I've been training all that week, and this guy just kind of walked in. Yeah. And he's boxed like amateur and stuff. So, but he told me, he's like, stick with it, So I really got to go back and start like training again. Mainly, I just do it at home now. Yeah. Because it costs money, man. It costs money to go.
That's the only drawback to jiu-jitsu is that you can't really do it on your own.
Yeah, like you can money to go.
You can practice moves and you can practice holds and work out, but to actually, like with boxing, you can go hit a heavy bag. You can go hit the speed bag.
But with jiu-jitsu, you need people's arm to
you need somebody.
Pull them in.
Yeah, you need somebody there to mess with. So it is a little bit more challenging to practice that a little bit more, but it's so much fun.
Yeah. Do you remember Tom Knox, the skater for Santa Cruz?
That name sounds real familiar.
There's a Tom Knox now from England who's a skater, but he's like new school. Like Tom Knox back in the old days, he's like the first one to ever do a kickflip wall ride. It was in like Wheels of Fire. This is kind of like before the 90s generation. Yeah. This is before your generation.
I started skating late in 80s. 94.
But he was a pro. He's pro for Santa Cruz still. He still has a board out. And that guy's like a champion jiu-jitsu, super black belt. Like every day he posts on his little stories, it's like, I won this competition. Like he's winning competitions.
He's probably he's strong as fuck.
Yeah, and he's kind of skinny, but like solid.
Those are the best jiu-jitsu guys.
Skinny
because they can get their hands in
just strong.
Yeah. Well, especially like with the forearms. Like if your forearms are too big, it's hard to get them underneath the chin and lock them in. Yeah. So that's why the skinny guys can get a hold of your ankle and get a hold of your neck. And
that's a trip about learning about jiu-jitsu and boxing is like, it's not the bigger guys always that do the best.
The smarter guys.
The most smarter, the more agile, more movable, and the bigger and bulkier you are. That's why I try to stay at a certain I don't want to get big, like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to get all yoked up or whatever. Like, I just want to be...
Wouldn't be bad, though.
No, yeah. I want to be Weck. So, but that guy's pretty funny. Have you seen that Wecking Ball guy? Do you know anything about him?
yeah. Oh, he was just on the 9 Club.
Oh my
Have you
God.
seen that?
Yeah, it's great.
He's hilarious.
I always thought he was funny before, too. And he messes with Freddie Gall. And I know that they're probably friends, but Fred Gall was like one of my buddies. Like, he was on IPath for a while.
Yeah.
And he would go on these, you know, you go on tour with that guy, and that fool would just get into the craziest shit. You'd be like, where the hell's Freddie? Like, where's he going to end up? Or he'd bring some weird-ass guy over, like, yo, this guy's my new homie, dude. And just walk in with some random guy from the town you're staying in. And he was always fun to go on tours with. It was just funny, man. It was like, but like that Jersey kind of attitude, I think it's funny. Oh, actually, there's a funny story I want to tell you guys about. So just off subject, but I thought, there's a few stories I want to tell them. So when I was like with Jerhobo once, we were skating China Banks, right? And I don't know if you ever saw that in that Think video. He's got this one part where he just destroys China Banks, and it was like so sick to see him doing all that stuff, right? And he would skate the top of China Banks, which no one was really doing. And there was these guys that played, like, these Asian guys would play like the checkers at the bottom.
Yeah.
They play like cards and checkers, and it was like their big thing. And Dan's board would always go over the top and fall into their game, and they would get so mad, right? And one day Dan was having a shit day or something. Right? He was killing it, but he was getting mad, and his board went over the side, and this guy came up. He's an older, like, Chinese guy or something, and Dan's like going to get his board. He's like, no, the Chinese guy's like yelling at him in Chinese, and he's like trying to get his board back from him. The guy wouldn't give him his board. and he just held his board, and the checkers are everywhere, or whatever it was. It was either cards or checkers, and he was so mad. And Dan just looks at him, and he looks at us. He's like, I'm fucking going home. And he just walked away and just left the board with the guy. It was hella funny.
We were probably thinking like, damn it,
this is classic
backfired.
Yeah, no, the guy didn't care. He's like, fuck you, I'm keeping your board. You're not fucking up our game again. Oh, sorry to swear.
Oh, just fucking go swear away, man.
I didn't
Swear
know.
We're it's a podcast, dude. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
All right.
We can do whatever we want too. It's we don't have a boss.
Yeah.
The only person that tells me what to do is Cameron.
Okay.
And the only person that tells Cameron what to do is me.
Yeah.
So
sounds good.
That's how it works.
It's not like Sirius FM or anything.
No, yeah, definitely none of that. Okay, so one of the last questions I had was basically like when did everything with skateboarding? When did that kind of stop?
Yeah. So like I'd say right when I started working at B Street. Yeah, so I didn't really talk too much about Satori and creation. That was like the last leg. Like after IPath, I was still riding IPath, but Satori Wheel Company, which was done by that guy Craig Nugedley, and then he started creation, which I came up with the name, and then we came up with the graphics and ideas. It was kind of smaller; it never really took off, but it sustained itself for quite a few years.
Yeah,
actually,
Satori's still around.
Yeah, and creation had Guru on it. It had at the beginning, and it had Brian De La Torre and all those guys. Ron Allen rode for it. Dave Cato, like a lot of people rode for it. But like during the time when, during like from that era, actually Satori, like Jake Rupp and Ed Salego, those tours were rad. We went to Panama, we went to Puerto Rico, we went to Jamaica.
That's crazy.
Those tours were awesome. They were like so fun. And we actually built a ramp and built 2 ramps in Jamaica. And that was mainly, a lot of that was due to Joey Terche. Joey Terche got like 100 boards. We gave out boards. We built ramps. And
damn.
That was all during the Satori kind of like end of the IPath kind of era. So like during those were the last few years where I was still getting checks up until I think it was 2007 or something. I was still getting checks. And once the checks stopped coming, because like IPath was like, okay, we're not doing a contract with you guys and certain guys on the team anymore.
Yeah.
I was one of those dudes. And I was skating, but honestly, for like 5 years, I went through a lull where I skated, but I didn't skate like I used to. And I didn't really skate for fun. It was more like, at that point, it was more like I always got to go out and film and take a big photo or something. And it became a weird kind of zone I was in. And that's when it kind of started to, like, I still had a board out, even when and right away I was like, okay, I got to get a real job. And I went down and started, I was like, 28th and B has a, the skate park has an opening for a manager. So I went right from skateboarding job to a skateboarding job, which was cool. And for, you know, a couple of years in there, I was still getting small checks and some boards, but I just wasn't pushing any idea of being a pro skater anymore. I was just more like, and it's funny because now I skate way more and way harder than I did during, you know, my last few years as pro. I just was like, I think it's because you live the dream, you go through your idea, and you've made it, and you've done it, and you've been all over the world, and then you're like, do I still want to do this? And I still wanted to do it, but I didn't want to, like, I mean, at that point, kids were getting so good. You had, like, the Baker team and Corey Duffel and all these guys just destroying it. And I was like, cool, I paved the way, but I'm not trying to do that every day.
You can't compete with that.
Yeah, and I was just trying to be me and trying to skate what I wanted to skate. And I didn't really want to go on tours with no budget and shit like that anymore, you know? But now it's come full circle where I'm more like just into skating for the essence of it, you know? But I still, like, just for my own personal, I like to just still push and try to film, and that's just fun, you know? It's like, yeah. So that was the time. I'd say 2007 and 8 is when it kind of started to fade and become like, okay, time to find a new thing to do.
Was that a hard pill to swallow?
Sort of, but it kind of naturally occurred slowly. You know what I mean? Because I still had a board out, but I just wasn't really getting paid. So I consider myself like, whenever someone asked me, "Are you still a pro skater?" I'd be like, "Nah, but I still got a board out." For like years, I'd say that. You know.
Well, you still have a board out. I'm sure you have a board somewhere.
No, there's no Pailes board out.
I'm right sure now. There's a Pailes board laying around somewhere.
Well, yeah, I got them laying around. But, and I get boards from this company Forward, my friend Atru does, and then Matt Rod.
Forward? All right.
Yeah, Matt. I get boards from a couple little spots. Like Matt Rod does Esla Boom, which I love. So I'm backing both those guys. Like, I'm old, dude. I don't care. I'm on two companies. Yeah. But yeah, it faded around that time, and it was kind of tough. But at the same time, my mind was in a different place. I was just like, I wanted to work, and I really was looking forward to to waking up and having a job to do, because I did. Yeah. It sounds weird, but like from high school until 35, I just was on pro skater time. Like, wake up, have nothing. You don't need to do anything. You can get up and go skate, but it just helped. I liked the fact I was able to get up and have like a schedule, you know. And I like that still now.
Kids listening to this right now are like, "Fuck that!
Fuck that!" Right?
Well, I did it for 15 time forever, man.
Dude, I lived that for 15 years, and it gets to be like, man, you're up till 3 a.m. waking up at 12 in the afternoon. Now I like to wake up at 7 in the morning, dude. Like, get my day going.
I know, me too. I get up pretty early.
Yeah, get up early, get the day going, and be able to work or whatever, you know. I mean, if I could own a skate company now and do all that, I probably would love that again. Or
is that a thought?
Yeah, I've thought about doing that kind of stuff. You know, I've thought about starting. Actually, what I've thought about starting is more of like a private skateboard clinic where you do stuff with kids and stuff, because it kind of would have like my whole youth development thing that I already have learned a lot of, and how to organize that mixed with the skateboarding. So eventually, I know a lot of people do that, but just right now I'm not pushing that idea too hard. But I could see myself doing that in the future, and I've thought of it very thoroughly. Like, how would I do it? What would the plan be? You know, it's just there's some gray area because working for the city, and if you were to use a city park, you have to like rent the park. Yeah. And there's all these little legal things you gotta do.
Yeah, even if it was one of the outdoor parks, it would still you'd have to.
Yeah, like you gotta get the permit for grant, or you gotta grant it or wherever. But there's a lot of avenues you can do through Parks and Recs departments, all the way from here up to like Cameron Park. There's Granite Bay. All those different places have Parks and Rec departments.
It's crazy how many skate parks we have these days.
So many here.
Does that blow your mind now?
Yeah. I haven't even been to all of them.
Right? I see parks on Instagram from my buddies, and I'm like, oh, what park is that? And they're like, oh, it's just right here in Sac.
Wild Rose, the one Wild Rose?
That one's fun.
It's tucked out in the middle of nowhere, and it's sick.
In the middle of just some random park.
Yeah, in Natomas, it gets windy there. It's
got a sick-ass snake run.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't been to that, look it up. It's Wild Rose Park in Natomas. It's got a sick snake run with a little street section. Super small park, but really fun, well-designed. And then there's like two of them out here in Elk Grove.
Mainline.
Yeah, Mainline, and then the other one, the Wackford. It's called Wackford.
Really? Is it cement?
Yeah, it's cement.
Is it the one that's right by the bar that goes into the big? Big bank?
No, it's called Wackford, and it's at there's like a water park and a baseball field, and then just this little square of a skate park that has this big black chain link fence around it.
Really?
And it's got some dope ledges.
What?
You should check it
cement?
out. Yeah, it's all concrete. It got 2 little bowls and then a little street section that's dug out. And they got a couple of down rails and these really nice ledges.
Wow. The only Elk Grove park I've skated other than that is Shasta. The little Shasta park. It's like a prefab park.
Oh yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
I mean, no offense to everybody who likes skating there.
But there's a ton of those though. I mean, for me, it's baffling.
It's a good warm-up spot.
Because they're just putting in skate obstacles and skate spots everywhere to the point where it's like skateboarding's like accepted by the city planners now. You have a park, you got to have some kind of skate obstacle. You have a jungle gym and a basketball court and a half pipe and we're close enough in age that we remember a time in Sacramento where there were 0 skate parks.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it on the previous episode where we had an indoor park called The Grind. Were you in Sac for that one?
Yep. I learned
that's right. In
fakie 540s in those. Fakie. What's that trick? The McTwist? No, not the McTwist. I think it's called Caballerios.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I learned Caballerios on the vert ramp there. I used to skate it with Wade, and he'd be like, "Come on, Pailes. See some airs." Then I'd have to.
That bowl is so gnarly.
Yeah, the bowl was sick.
But then it disappeared.
First time I skated with Cardio was in that bowl.
Yeah, he killed that thing.
Yeah.
But then that thing disappeared, and then we had a long stretch of just nothing.
Yeah.
And then 19th and R, and then Power Inn opened, and then after Power Inn, all of a sudden we've got 40 skate parks in Sacramento now.
And Epic was sick too. I never got to skate there though.
You never got to skate Epic?
I never got to skate there. I just always heard about it, and I was like, "Oh, it sounds good. I'm gonna go." Because
I used to come into the B.
Yeah, you'd come to the B, and you worked at Epic.
And I worked at Epic.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And he's right. You did never come in.
I'd never been there.
Oh man, that's a shame because it was amazing.
Yeah, it looked amazing. I missed out.
We talk about Epic too much. It's all right though. That's our history. That's like I was never pro, but I helped manage a pro skate park. So.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
All right, man. Well,
thanks for having me.
You got anything else we want to? Got any more stories for me?
No, I just I mean, honestly, I think that they want to start doing some more stuff at B Street and fixing up. Like they tried to build something there. Some of the stuff like we helped design, I helped design, and then they built it all wrong, and so a lot of kids are disappointed with it. And also, but I think the city is still trying to push to fix that, and I'm trying to get them in touch with whenever they build something there at the B Street, they have to put it out to bid. It's part of the city's process, and I've tried to talk to them about it. Just hire Jason Carney or some pro guy. So I always try to push the guys that I know. Even Casey and those guys, because Casey Lindstrom, he can build, but it's kind of like some difficult stuff you got to go through to be able to build there, as far as bidding process, and I think a lot of those guys get frustrated with it and don't want to fuck with it, which I wish we could just skip that, but it's like dealing with legalities and shit, so.
If you want city money, you got to play city rules.
Yeah, so I still have been trying to reach out even to because they keep hiring these skate companies that build skate parks, but they're not skaters that build the skate parks. They're just ramp companies. So it's kind of hard to find. I want to find the right people to come and be able to revamp that place.
Look at the space and actually
be man, they can make it so good.
Team Pain.
Yeah, Team Pain, right?
That's who did Epic. Yeah,
that's what everybody tells me.
That's who did Epic, and they came in. They looked at the space and they created a model for the space. They didn't.
I'm gonna try to reach out there.
They didn't just stick their ramps in there. They looked at the space and said,
"Yeah, how's it all gonna flow?"
Yeah, here's what we can do with it.
That's the guy. I knew there was somebody.
Yeah, Team Pain, man. They're expensive, but
who cares?
The city will pay for it.
It's part of taxpayer money to have a safe place for kids to go where they're not gonna fall on a nail or fall on something that's falling apart.
Yeah, all you got to do is show them a picture of Epic and be like, here's what they can do. Look at this.
Build this.
Because the B Street's a great park in its own.
Yeah.
I always liked B Street because I could move stuff around.
Yeah, it's kind of got its little DIY kind of thing going.
Yeah, I could create a street spot that I wanted to practice
which I think it will still have that, and the city people know that that's what we like about it, because we fought we don't want a prefab park here.
Yeah, no.
So
nobody will go.
So it's getting there. I mean, like I said, I don't work there anymore, which I wish I did. But
when was the last time? Do you go there often?
I go there all the time because I go there to go swim at the river, and I stop by and I talk to all the staff and all the people, and I help the city with a lot because the people they got there don't really know a lot about skateboarding. So I'll be like, well, you need to resurface this, or you need to, reskeleton that ramp. It's sagging here. It's, I know ramps just like you do. So I basically help them with like a lot of the advice about how to fix it, and whether it gets done or not is not my job, and that's why you see it.
Yeah. I mean, it has its issues, but it's
still fun though. I still go there and throw some things together and make a little.
Yeah, it's like our public DIY
obstacle course. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I guess we could wrap it up. If you guys want to go check him out, definitely go. You can spend an entire afternoon watching some old footage, some good footage from the 90s, from the early 2000s. Check him out, Ross Matthew on YouTube, at Ross Matthew _Pailes on Instagram. Anywhere else that we can reach you?
No, that's about it.
Just Google Matt Pailes. You'll find everything
Google
you
me.
could.
Don't at me. No, it's fine. You can at me.
All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap it up then. This has been About That Ender. I've been your host, Keith, Mr. Audio Wizard Cameron.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I've been a huge fan.
This is my first time ever doing like a podcast interview. It's like, I feel like I'm on like the Joe Rogan show of skateboarding.
That's what's up. That's what I wanted to hear. We're going to end on that. All right. And we're out.